So here is a tweet, another named tweet today called Aesthetical Tokenism. Aesthetical Tokenism. Say that 5 times fast. And here we go. In a post-truth realm known as politics, accepting the constancy of hypocrisy will help one score tokens. There is no the truth, only an estimate based on limited information, often with disinformation and misinformation sprinkled in to persuade in a given direction. And then I hashtag it optics. So aesthetics, aesthetical tokenism, and optics. Okay. So in the post-truth realm of politics, where anything goes, the rules are for radicals, as Saul Alinsky would say, if you don't accept the constancy of hypocrisy, like not understanding, if you think that one side or the other, may it be the Democrats or the Republicans, are always right, I'm sorry, but the truth lies between. And understanding that, pointing out hypocrisy on this side, or this side, or that side, or that side, wherever it might be, some people would tell you that that's not the strongest play. It's not the strongest play, because everybody is doing these things, and they're all pointing out hypocrisy to the point where, well, it becomes neutralized. Hypocrisy, whataboutism, these concepts are neutralized when it comes to politics because everybody's got a little corruption. Every team has a little corruption. Every team has a couple of people saying the wrong thing and saying things that are offensive, or they're making microaggressions. Whatever it might be that they're doing, both sides are doing it. And so pointing out hypocrisy, well, it really helps if only one side is doing something. And this is where I think that the left, the American left, the Democrat left, you have your more neoliberal Democrats, and then you have your more democratic socialist Democrats, whatever Democrat it might be, your AOC plus 3, or your Nancy Pelosi, or Elizabeth Warren, whoever it might be. And then, of course, you have your Republicans, your Rand Paul. He's kind of an outlier. But you have your bitch McConnell. People call him Bitch McConnell on Twitter sometimes. But you have all these different people, Jim Jordan. And if you accept the constancy of hypocrisy, it'll help you score tokens. So, the aesthetical tokenism. There is no the truth, only an estimate based on limited information. So again, especially when you're dealing with political rhetoric in this post-truth realm, they're going to be sometimes directionally accurate. Okay, so they'll be able to say, well, I was mostly correct, I just got the numbers wrong, right? They'll use every technique in the book to persuade, to, some would say, manipulate, to get your vote. Okay? They're only largely, and this goes for the smarter politicians, they're only concerned with winning. They're only concerned with keeping their power. And yeah, they might have some policy goals. They might have some, ethical and moral concerns that are actually real. But largely, it's about, we have lobbyists, we have all these different people that are part of a conflict of interest in the government, and it's all about negotiating and making concessions and doing this and doing that. But there's a lot of hypocrisy, and once you realize that's neutral, that pointing out hypocrisy, will score you, points in the short term, but really, at the end of the day, it doesn't actually mean that much. It's just another round of the game, right? You realize there is no the truth. There is no absolute truth. And that goes not only for politics, but of course, that kind of occurs in a philosophical or metaphysical sense as well. We can never know the absolute truth. It might exist. Objective truth might exist. But we're stuck in our heads. We have a subjective view of reality. We see everything from a different perspective. Scott Adams calls it two movies on one screen. I view things differently than you view things, and that's impossible to avoid. So the truth is a little bit different for everybody. Your truth is different than my truth. Our truth is different from somebody else's truth, so on and so forth. So with politics, there is no absolute truth most of the time. A lot of these systems are so large. The political system, the economic system, trade, they're so big that, you know, at the end of the day, nobody really looks at the entire system, sees every cog moving, and understands everything that's going on. If they're talking in rhetoric, they're just trying to persuade largely to their team or to whatever goals they're looking to accomplish politically. And they could be great goals. They could be goals that help the American people, or whichever country you're from. They can help the people. But again, it's only an estimate based on limited information. Just an estimate. And with politics, of course, you often have disinformation and misinformation thrown in there as well. And that helps persuade in a given direction. So somebody might try to smear somebody. And oftentimes, it's like the way reporting works. If somebody puts up a report that happens to be, you know, false or misleading, a lot of people will read the misleading report, and if there's a correction issued later, they're not going to look at that. They're not going to see it. They've already moved on to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. In fact, a lot of the people I talk to don't even look beyond the headlines or the leads. Of course, I do have a video coming up, but I did a tweet video not too long ago when I talked a little bit about pro tips for the post-truth world, or post-truth pro tips, which can help you determine how fake news works if you're not privy to that knowledge already. So it is largely about optics. It's about the way things look, because sometimes people, like, for example, here's a great example, just talking about this past week, when Adam Schiff went ahead and gave his parody version of the whistleblower call. Now, he very clearly said it was parody. Adam Schiff did a good thing by saying at the end it was parody. But just by, using this parody, using fake words out of Trump's mouth, putting fake words into President Trump's mouth, a lot of people are just going to look at that one, that they're not going to know it's parody. They'll just see the snippet they saw in the news, the soundbite. And if they're not paying enough attention, even if he said it was parody and they miss it, they will potentially, many people, dozens, hundreds, thousands, maybe even millions, will make decisions based on sort of misinformation, disinformation. Misinformation is when you have bad information. Disinformation is when somebody intentionally spread misinformation. They call it disinformation for a disinformation campaign. So you want to keep in mind that optics matter. The truth, it might seem like the truth matters in politics. It might seem that way. But it's a post-truth realm. Optics matter. And that's why I say study persuasion, pay attention to linguistics, and if you're really interested in politics, check out these different disciplines, these different skills to add to your stack, and I think you'll have a better time. So that's all for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. And as I always say, everything I said today might be right. Or everything I said today might be wrong. Or perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between. I think that's more correct. So if you enjoyed the content today, please do hit like and subscribe. Tap that little bell for notifications on YouTube and BitChute, of course. Leave me a comment below with your thoughts, observations, accolades, and criticisms. And if you didn't enjoy the video, or if you had a beef with me on Twitter and you want to get some revenge, hit the downvote button so I know whether my content is good or bad, that's meritocracy. Let me know. It'll do me a service. But I do appreciate any upvotes I get. Definitely helps with the algorithm.